Welcome back to Atlanta, by the way.
Thank you.
What do you look forward to most about being here, competing here when you guys come back here?
The food,
Oh,
first of all.
good answer.
We just came from having a nice barbecue spot, so, but other than that, the culture, the city, the energy is always like great in no matter what arena we go to. This is actually our first time going to Gateway Center for AEW, and so that's exciting. They haven't had any wrestling in that building, so we get to, crack that show first. And so I'm excited about that. I'm excited about, just bringing different types of energy and, entertainment to the, Atlanta, especially like with last year we were here, we went from one shift into a whole different type of paradigm shift here in All Elite Wrestling, especially like coming from my title reign through the Dynasty era to where we are now in 2025, and this sets the tone for the rest of the year. February 5th. We're still very early, so we have 10 more months to truly create a whole new momentum shift and a different pace, and it starts now.
It seems like it's an interesting time to be with the company right now because of what you guys have going on Max.
Yes, that's also true.
Streaming is a big deal right now. To have that as another option for fans to watch you guys. How big of a difference is that making, and how much excitement does that add to what you guys do as far as the overall health of the company?
Yeah, the difference we'll probably see maybe 6 months from now, maybe like a year from now. We'll feel and you'll notice the difference from the impact of just jumping into Max, because January 1st we were boom, right at it, out the new year. But I love the fact that it's simulcasted with, TNT and TBS, our primary programming. WBD's been doing a lot of great integrations with myself in Osprey and Orange Cassidy, Darby being on, the DC Comics that came out late last year. So there's a lot of those little integrations you're starting to see piece by piece happen. I think that's just one of the major pieces of the puzzle with the new promoting of that, and the wrestling itself, like the new roster, the new add-ons to the company. Seeing the Hurt Syndicate with Bobby Lashley and MVP and Shelton coming in. You've seen myself become one of the big faces of the company over just from 2024. You're going to start seeing that effect more in 2025 now. So HBO latched onto that, and they're really appreciating and understanding the diversity of myself and Ricochet going head to head tomorrow night on Dynamite. All these things are big. They're big, impactful things that you're going to feel later on. But I'm glad we get to appreciate them now and really get to promote it and put it on there.
When you were here, I think it was last year, we talked about the growth of the company in such a short amount of time. And sometimes I think we focus on, U.S. and not maybe outside of the United States, even though you guys did a big show in Wembley, actually 2 big shows in Wembley now. I just read something, I think, this past week where UK ratings, TV ratings are up huge for you guys. Do you ever kind of pause and think about how much this company has grown in such a short amount of time, but not just here domestically, but internationally as well?
Yeah, we do. I certainly appreciate that kind of, growth as far as crossing the over into new territory. Yeah. In a couple weeks, we have Australia. That's another boundary we're going to be crossing over into. That's a huge expansion in just 5 years. That's unprecedented. Actually, 6 years now. So there are times we do have to maybe slow down and pace ourselves and understand what we just established, and let's we need to work on this and literally tend and give this the tender love and care to what we just established and what we just created, and what we just before we start really monetizing it and curating it. That's one of the challenges of a company blowing up so fast. We got to know when to all right, punch it in full gear, and then all right, let's bring it back a little bit, and then cruise for a second. Now it's time to punch it back in.
You mentioned the big match here on Wednesday against Ricochet. When you watch how you guys have handled this over the past couple of weeks, you have this kind of really personal angle to it. Tell me a little bit about your history with him and why it's become so personal, and just kind of your, I guess, feelings on how this program has gone and what maybe fans can expect on Wednesday.
I've known Ricochet all the way back to like 2010.
Yeah.
You know, it goes way back then. And at that time, 2010 to 2012, Ricochet was like truly doing some of the most mind-blowing things you've ever seen in a wrestling ring. From American soil on the independence all the way to Japan. It was in Mexico and the UK. Like, we weren't seeing things like that, like feats of like athleticism that haven't even been tapped into, that we didn't even think, like, it was like years ahead, and he was doing it then. And online, I caught the glimpse of it, and it's like, how could you not be captivated by it? And then eventually I wanted to gravitate towards that slew of talent that was like doing that. You know, there was other guys like A.R. Fox was in there. Eventually Will Ospreay came in and did those things. So you're seeing those ties between us on the camera now. And then the closer I got to him at that time, in like 2013, 2014, I feel like there was a sense of like envy and there's ego and there's butting heads.
Yeah.
It's like they want you close, they don't want you too close, you know, in a sense. And so there's a lot of clashing of ideas, clashing of, you know, psychologies, different ideologies of what pro wrestling should be and could be. And over the years, there was just animosity between me and him, like outside of the ring. And it was always pent up, but we never really addressed it like to each other personally, but we knew it was there,
right,
and we never addressed it on camera. So this goes back to like 2011, that you're seeing this take shape in 2025, and you're seeing all that pent-up aggression, you're seeing all that animosity from all the years of just like, oh, I was watching you, to me, like, honestly, in a sense now, like, I kind of done things that you never could been able to accomplish, you know, and now it's like, whose ideologies were correct? You, for the time, it was, but mine overall, years later, stood the test of time, and it got me the main event and become a world champion, which he's still like trying to seek that.
Yeah.
So it's like, maybe mine was right, and now he's feeling that animosity a little bit, and now I kind of have the power and the control a little bit to kind of push certain buttons that he can't do, which is like throwing toilet paper at him at World's End at the pay-per-view and stuff. And I feel like he's always gotten criticism for the last 5-6 years about the things that fans didn't know what he was capable of, and he almost got teased for it and picked on for it. Those little small things like being able to speak on camera and things like that, not being what they thought he could be, and that boiled up inside until I'm the one that kind of popped that bubble. And now it's like I'm the guy that kind of everybody comes to when they finally had their wits end. I kind of push the button and I push the narrative, and I bring out that personal, like, inner demon inside of you. It happened with me and Hangman Page. It's happening with me and Ricochet now, and who knows who it might happen with later on, because that's just the kind of personality that my character brings. So February 5th in Dynamite is the first time we're going to meet in the ring, face to face, and truly like compete for the first time on national television. It's never happened, and it's going to be more than just like athletic feats of like ability. It's going to actually be like a fight, and a lot of like old feelings coming to light in the way of physical combat.
How much motivation does it give you, and how much do you look forward to getting to do programs, matches with guys who are either you've known for a while and maybe haven't competed against, or guys that you know? Basically, anytime you get to do a new program in AEW, how much motivation and how much do you look forward to doing things like that, maybe testing yourself against somebody who, whether you know them or not, you haven't been able to do this with before?
It's honestly worked both ways.
Yeah.
I like it's easy to kind of like tap into something older, and to be like, oh, remember that time? Like, it's like it can start small. Like, if you look at a John Wick film, they made 4 films off of one little incident. You know what I mean? It can start small like that, and then it can grow into certain things. So that's how that's how the fans kind of see the genesis of it, and then they kind of continue the ride. And I feel like people like witnessing and being in the driver's seat of something that just started, rather than like, oh, this is taken off from over here in this company, and now it's just a continuation in this company. I feel like people gravitate more towards like starting that story right here, right now. We know there's a past, but the story starts right here, right now. In the case of like me and Hangman Page, we had no interactions prior to this on the independents, internationally, nothing. Like, I addressed them right then and there. That's the first time these characters ever met in the ring, and it took off because people were really seeing like, I understand his feelings, I understand his feelings, and now we get to pick, we get to choose who to start, like who we feel who's right, like who's justified, you know. But with people I've known for a long time, there's a different type of trust factor in there, of course, and there's a different type of camaraderie and a chemistry. You know when things are like right. You know when things are like, this is going to work. This is going to go well. You know when like you know when things like the crowd is going to feel a certain way about this thing. You know it. With new relationships and stuff, you're kind of going to play around with things, and you're just fishing to see what you can catch. And then the more and more it grows as you go on, and the fans grow with you.
Yeah. You mentioned WBD earlier and the faith they have in you. Since the last time you were here came the big announcement of the big extension, TV rights, Max was being part of that. How do you feel right now about where AEW is and also the future of the company going forward?
I feel super confident, and I wouldn't sign an extension of 5 years if I didn't feel like, if my gut was telling me this wasn't going to be something that was going to pay off later on. Like my advisors, my representation, they wouldn't advise me to invest in the company. They wouldn't advise Tony Khan to invest in me. There was a lot of talks, like cross-examinations, like all the way up to all the way down. And I couldn't be more confident in the next 5 years, at least, like not just for my time here, but just the next 5 years of AEW. That's why I wanted to be in this position, as you see. I want to be doing more. I want to be here, sitting here with you, promoting, talking about it. I want people to understand my sentiments for the company. I want them to feel what I feel. It's almost like you go to a movie and you love this movie so much that you want to share it with your people and your friends so they can feel the same way that you feel about that movie. That's what I feel. And especially, it's a little bit different, especially it's almost like you had a part in the movie. You had a part in writing the movie. You had a part in starring in the movie. You had a part in adding little tidbits of nuance to make that movie feel special, so you carry it deeply in your heart in a different way. And it goes beyond just the business of things, The business, it's something that we're always trying to work and change and grow with, because the business of entertainment is changing left and right as the days go. And it's our job to adapt with it. It's not going to change for us. We have to adapt to it, And I think we're doing a great job at that. There's things that we can improve on, of course, but we have the people in place, or we're going to get those people in place to adapt even better and adapt even faster and progress even more and faster, and just me being in the position I am, I get to sit in and hear these talks and have these conversations, and that's where that motivation comes in and that inspiration. I get that excitement again. It's almost like the excitement of learning pro wrestling all over again, but now I'm on this side of it a little bit more, just peeking my head in a little bit more. And that's where I get the excitement. It becomes like a puzzle piece that I really want to figure out, And I like coming up with ideas and having these discussions. And I think the staff and management loves hearing that conversation come from me, a talent, rather than just I just want to show up, do my match, and then go home. No, I don't want the work to stop. After my match, I want to figure out what's the next city, what's the next program, what's the next this, what's the next activation, what's the next thing that we can do so this just doesn't happen. Whatever we did today, it doesn't happen and it goes away in a couple hours. I want this to take shape, and I wanted to take it to the next city. I want to take it to Collision. I want to take it to the next pay-per-view. I'm I always want to take something and see how many different ways I want to use it. I want to use this for that. Okay, let's use this to take that. let's use this to promote, or that, or this is something we could use to pull this person to come in because this is intriguing stuff,
You mentioned entertainment business. Obviously, you have a history in professional wrestling with your music career, with rap music. Performing to you, did it always come naturally? Did you have to learn how to be a good performer, or how did that kind of genesis happen over your career?
I did have to learn. It's all a learning process.
Yeah.
I saw I take these motivational videos from like artists and actors and stuff on IG, and I post them on Instagram stories because it means something to me, and hopefully it means something to somebody else. But Will Smith was like, "Oh, we all suck at the beginning. We all suck at it. We all suck at something. But just because you're not good at something doesn't mean you stop. That's no indication to stop at anything. You keep going and you keep trying different things, and wrestling actually helped coincide with performing. It actually was like very synonymous. I kind of saw the patterns. I was like, oh, crowd reaction. Oh, getting them to chant. Oh, getting them to, and I was like, okay, stage work, ring work. It was almost like, okay, I'm seeing the parallels here in a lot of ways. And then podcasting with my friend Montezi, that helped my speech, and that carried over a little bit more. And thinking on my feet and stuff, like just come up with conversations. I helped with interviews, and then it helped with promos. So, and then that helped with music. So a lot of things just helped me like it just kind of all fed each other in a natural way, and that I didn't even know was really happening until I picked up on them later on. Like talking to a microphone in the studio compared to doing it on a crowd, compared to doing it in the ring, doing a promo, like all very similar patterns and muscles. And I was exercising them all at one time that I didn't really know. So music is super important, and that's something I probably won't stop doing because I'm trying to unlock other things in my brain that I didn't know I was really exercising until like it ends up happening. So like I take music very seriously, not just as a hobby. It's really a passion and something I really truly want to like dive into. And then other artists actually seeing and appreciating like how much work and seriousness and passion I put into the music, and then bring it to wrestling.
One more time, just kind of sell me on just being in Atlanta, and of course your match against Ricochet. What can fans expect, whether they're watching it on television or they go there in person?
You're seeing two of the best wrestlers in the world, on top of the two best black wrestlers on the planet Earth. Myself ranked number 2 in the PWI 500 list this year.
Big deal.
2024 Breakout Wrestler of the Year by ESPN. Like, you don't really see that many accolades come to like my culture like that, and I'm getting in a position. I am in the position to main event on a lot of these events. And Ricochet, like I said, like personal feelings aside, that man has truly paved the way for a lot of what you see in styles, like not just on All Elite Wrestling, but like everywhere across the globe. This man truly deserves his flowers. He's going to get them one day, but till then, it's blood in and blood out with this man. I got to fight him because he's done some really horrific things. So that's the main event. You're also seeing a lot of great things like Will Ospreay, younger brother to myself and Ricochet, and he's taken our styles and just took them to just a whole nother universe. If we're on Earth, he's somewhere else because he's fantastic. So you got to see that. Brody Lee and Brody King and Buddy Matthews are in tag action. They're going to do some wild stuff, man. It's just the roster's stacked. And as the card kept unveiling over the days, I was getting excited. But also I'm like, okay, I got to step my game up because I got to go after all these guys. So it's going to be magic, especially in a new arena. I feel like fans are going to feel the effects of AEW even more, that much more in that intimacy of that atmosphere in this new arena in Gateway Center. So tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, TBS, All Elite Wrestling, Dynamite. Let's get it.